Sawadee-krap. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. Today is our group learning program, and on Wednesdays, I guide students in meditation, and then I open up to any and all questions that you guys might have after our meditation. Today, we're going to be doing a guided loving kindness meditation session together so that you guys can train your mind to eliminate anger, hatred, ill will, and all the lesser versions like frustration, agitation, annoyance, even the slightest dislike. By the time you get to enlightenment, you won't even have the slightest dislike towards another being. Not only is this helping you to eradicate those aspects of the mind towards others, but towards yourself as well. Because sometimes the mind in the unenlightened state has this diminishing, degrading inner dialogue where you maybe talk to yourself in hateful ways and degrading and diminishing ways. Maybe you have certain guilt or shame that's going on in the mind. This is really great to help eliminate that negative, degrading self talk that oftentimes is in the mind. This meditation is meant to rewire your mind to eliminate your anger, hatred, and ill will. It's not to change other people. Sometimes when I do this meditation, because we're doing affirmations like, may mom and dad be peaceful, may my family be peaceful and safe and well and things of that nature. Sometimes people think that this meditation is in order to change other people or somehow invoke some kind of superpower to come in and change all of these people in your life. This isn't actually true. None of the teachings of the Buddha are about changing other people. It's about transforming your own mind. It's about doing the inner work to get to enlightenment yourself. It's not about changing other people. You can't actually change other people. It's up to other people to choose to change. So there's nothing you can do in a meditation or prayer or anything like this to change other people. So we're going to first start with some chanting. Then I'm going to guide you in a breathing mindfulness meditation. It's going to be a bit quiet after the guidance. Then I'm going to come in with the affirmations for the loving kindness meditation. We're going to go back to the breathing mindfulness meditation, and we're going to come out with some more chanting. And that's where I'll just open up to whatever questions you guys might have. So if you'd like to take a position, either seated, lying, or standing, these work really well for loving kindness meditation. There is a walking position, but we don't tend to use that one for the loving kindness meditation because it doesn't really work for this one. But you can take any position you like. And if you'd like to join along in the chants, you're more than welcome to. You can find the chants on buddhadailywisdom.com. Click on free books. And if you scroll down towards the bottom, you'll actually see the chanting sheet there. So I'm going to ease us into meditation with some chanting. You guys are welcome to join in. And then I'll come back in with the guidance after that. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakeva Otang Mahakavanang Apivateyami Savakato Mahakavata Tammo Dhammang namasami Supatipano mahakavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang namami Namo rasa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo rasa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo rasa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso mahakava arahang samma sambuddho Vicacaranang sammuno Sakatoro kawitu anutero purisa Dhamma sati satatawa manusana Oto Bhagavati. Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect. Just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath, a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath, not forced or controlled, just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then, whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathing gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then, whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing a full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind fixated on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Then I'll be back with more guidance on loving kindness meditation. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath, breathing in and out. Continuing to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Repeat these affirmations in the mind on the out breath. safe. May I be well. May I be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May mom and dad be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May my family, friends, co-workers, and neighbors all be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all those who have caused me harm be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all those who I have harmed be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be well. May all beings be free of discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. Now return back to breathing mindfulness meditation, focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Breathing in and out. Arahang sammasambuddho emakewa Otang mahakawanang apiwate Savakato emakewata tammo Damang namasami Supatipano emakewato Savaka sangho Sanghang namami Namo Arhasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Arhasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Arhasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso emakawa Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicacaranang sammuno Sakato rogavitu Anutero purisa Dhamma sati satatava manusranang Oto Bhagavati. Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation. Once again, I'd like to welcome all of you guys to our class today. Whether you're joining for the first time, you're joining regularly, maybe you're in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, or maybe you're even listening to this on the replay. I'm going to open up to any and all questions that you guys have. You can put those into Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom in the comments section, or in Zoom, you can electronically raise your hand. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can always submit questions through our Facebook group. You can ask questions in a live class if you ever join one of those. You can send me private messages or you can schedule personal guidance. So I'll just open up to whatever questions you guys have. It looks like Yusuf might have a question or two. Go ahead, sir.
Teacher, I would like to ask you about sleep. The last time I asked you about it, I understood what you said. It was clear and made sense. But due to impermanence, one cannot always have the needed amount of sleep. For example, if I would to sleep like 10 o'clock and wake up 6 o'clock and get my needed sleep, then maybe the next day when I go out with my friends, I will not be able to go back home at 10 o'clock and sleep at 10 o'clock. So I will miss couple of hours of sleep. And when I wake up at 6, I will wake up having not enough sleep, and I can't sleep at the evening or the afternoon because that will mess up my schedule again, and I will be awake that day with not having enough sleep, and that will affect my mind. So this kind of stuff. How would you balance here?
Well, you need to eliminate any craving, desire, attachment that you have to stay out late with your friends. That's going to help you because if you're just holding on to that, you're not prioritizing the sleep because you need to be able to understand if this body and this mind is not well and it's not healthy, then nothing else is going to go well in your life. So you need to keep the mind and the body healthy. And sleep is excellent for the mind and the body. And if you allow your mind to go into a deficit or becoming sleep deprived, then you're not going to be able to perform well in all other aspects of your life. You're going to be making unwise decisions, producing unwholesome results, and you're going to have to deal with it later. So while you might not be able to get, or you might not choose to get, 8 hours of sleep every day, you need to balance this and come to the middle. Whereas if you say only got 6 hours of sleep one night, then maybe the next night you ensure that you get your solid 8 or 9 or even more hours. So, obviously you're not going to get 8 hours every single day because that would be permanence, but you should be able to prioritize the health of this mind and body to the point where you're not allowing cravings to be out with friends to diminish your ability to get sleep and then maintain the health of the body and the mind.
So let's say that I had 6 hours of sleep where I need eight. Would you advise to sleep in the afternoon or just stay up till the time of sleep comes at 10 p.m. so that I don't miss my schedule if I were to sleep afternoon?
Do you think that there's one permanent answer for that?
I don't know.
Yeah. So you've got to decide for yourself, Yusuf, because there's so many variables involved. Remember, what I'm doing is I'm helping you to be able to see how to eliminate the pollutions out of your mind, how to understand the natural law of karma. I'm not here to tell you what to do day by day, moment by moment. So you're going to need to look at each situation. And sometimes you might decide to sleep and take a nap based on the situation that you've got ahead of you. Other times you might decide to wait and sleep later. Each situation is going to be a bit different, and that's where you've got to make your own decisions. But if you have craving in these situations, you'll be holding on to those cravings and you won't want to sleep. So you need to be able to prioritize your sleep because that's very important to making sure the mind and the body's healthy.
Okay, I would like to know how, like, from your personal experiences, how do you uh, uh, re I don't know the word, but if you were to like wake up or stay up late tonight, how would you the next day? How would you make yourself able to sleep at the scheduled time, like let's say 10 p.m.? I don't know if you understand the question.
Yeah. I don't have a set time to go to sleep every day because that would be permanence. There's some times where I go to sleep earlier, there's some times where I go to sleep later. It's very rare that I go to sleep, earlier than 12 midnight. But sometimes I do. I'll go to sleep, 10, 11 o'clock. But that's more on the rare side. More frequently than not, I'm going to sleep around midnight, maybe a little bit earlier, like 11:30 or maybe as late as 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. And then I'm usually going to be waking up around 7 a.m. depending on what I've got going on. There's some times where I wake up around 6:15. There's other times where I sleep later. So over the course of my week, though, I'm getting, a amount of sleep that is ensuring that the mind and the body is healthy, that I'm not going into a sleep deprivated state.
Okay. The thing you mentioned that if I were to sleep like 10 p.m. and I went out with my friends, I need to prioritize the sleep. Does that mean that if you were me, you are going to come back like earlier because you will prioritize sleep, or you will see that it is fine to just keep being out with your friends? Because this is a new information for me.
Again, that's where each situation is different, Yusuf. You've got to look at, what are my plans over the next few days, and how am I going to, if I stay out late with my friends, how am I going to make sure I get my sleep for the rest of the next few days? So this is where you've got to come to wise decision making. I can't tell you what you should do, whether you should go home or stay with your friends, but it sounds like what you have been doing is you've been holding on to this contact with your friends and not going home. So if you know that you're not going to be getting a solid number of hours of sleep, and you're not going to have an opportunity to, uh, make that up in the next few days, then you're going to need to uh, prioritize your sleep in the situation. But if you're like, hey, I can stay out late with my friends today because tomorrow I don't really have anything going on and I can take a nap in the middle of the day. Now, that's what I'm talking about with the middle way and figuring out what's going to be best in any given situation. You can't come up with a permanent answer. We've talked about this many times how many different topics you do that where you try to get this one answer that somehow that's going to be the answer now and forever, but you can't do it that way. You need to be able to move to a higher consciousness, think through the decisions that you're making and look at all the variables and decide what would be wise in any given situation based on all the information you have at that moment.
I think it's not necessarily that I am looking for a one answer, but is that I don't know how to make up a question. So now I will make up the good question that is going to answer my question. Is sleep that important? Because from what you are saying that it's very, 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 very important for a practitioner to have to keep his mind in a healthy way. So is it that good, important?
It's important to keep your mind and the body healthy and in the middle way. And sleep is an important part of that. If you're not getting the appropriate amount of sleep, then the mind's not going to function well and the body's not going to function well. So you need to get an appropriate amount of sleep.
Okay. I would like to ask you about something different, which is football. Um, Before yesterday, when I played football with my friends, I play football with a craving to not see or like take their negative reactions at me. Like if I were to miss something, some goals, some passes, and they talk to me negatively, I would crave for them to not do that. Therefore, I would play in the way that they are happy with. So yesterday, when like I identified that craving and I was playing as I would like to play, they were getting like angry or having aversion at the way I play. I'm not a very good player, but a not very good player would need to touch the ball. Even though if he misses, he would need to touch the ball to enhance himself. But when I do that and I miss some goals, some passes, and this kind of stuff, they become angry. So I would like to understand. Of course, I'm not trying to meet their expectations, but I think from what I understand about the teachings, if I were to do things that are not welcome in the community, let's say the football community here, and they were constantly being angry at me. They are not going to invite me to play with them anymore because of their expectations at me. So, what do you think? What do you advise here?
So the last thing you're ever interested in doing is adopting somebody else's expectation of you and adopting that into your mind because now you're just burdening yourself to fulfill that person's expectations. And with all the different people in your life, if you did that with every single person, you're not living the life that you're interested in living anymore. You're living the life the way everybody else wants you to live it. And now you don't feel free. You feel constrained and bound up. So you should always live life the way that you would like to live, including how you play football. Play football the way you enjoy playing football. And if people are having such craving and such expectations of you that they don't want to invite you to play because of that, then they're actually doing you a service. Because if their interest to be your friend is contingent upon you doing things their way, then that's not a true friend. That's somebody who has craving, desire, attachment, and they're trying to force you and control you to do things their way. So instead, you would be wise to just play the way you play. If they get angry, you know you're not causing that. If they say that, hey, we don't want to play with you anymore, okay, fine. And then you find other people that are interested to play with you, people who aren't judgmental, people who aren't putting expectations on you. And now you'll have a very healthy relationship with those people.
Okay, understood. But I would like to make sure about the word you said, adopted or adopting in that sentence. What does that mean exactly?
That means like if somebody has an expectation of you, you bring that into your mind and make that an expectation of yourself. So like if you expected me to answer 10 questions on this class and I was only interested in answering 5, if I adopt your expectation of 10, now I'm not living based on what I know to be my middle way, for example, just an example, right? So if my middle way is, hey, I have time and I have the ability to answer 5 of your questions, then that's what I should do because that's what I know is wise for this being. Whereas if I adopt your expectations, if I take your expectation that you want to ask 10 questions and I put that into my mind, now I'm living my life based on what you want, not what is important for me and what's wise for me. And now my mind is all bound up. And then if I do things your way, you're happy. And if I don't do things your way, you're angry and frustrated. And now, like you talked about with the soccer players, you just go away. Okay, well, if I live my life that way, my mind is always bound up and I'm not making my own decisions that are in my own best interest. I'm making decisions based on what everybody else wants. And now I'm not living a wonderful life that is comfortable for me. So you need to be able to live your life your way and do it based on the natural laws. And if people are trying to put expectations on you and control you, and they choose to go away from you because they're getting angry, that's actually helping you because now you have more space in your life to be able to cultivate friendships and relationships where people aren't putting expectations on you. Because someone can try to put an expectation on you, but your mind doesn't have to adopt that. You can choose to not accept that expectation within your own mind. You don't have to tell them anything, you don't have to say anything to them. But if somebody's trying to get you to do things a certain way, you can just ignore it. In fact, when people are usually trying to put expectations on me, I usually do just the opposite, uh, just so that their mind can let go of their craving, desire, attachment.
Understood.
Mhm.
Also, what do you think about defending someone, like maybe your friends, mentally, not physically? So when we were playing football that day, my friend did push someone. I don't know the word that are used in football. He pushed him with his body, and that's like allowed in football. They were yelling at him, like I don't know, like 10 individuals were yelling at him, and he was like quiet, didn't say anything. So what I said, like, come on, guys, leave him alone. You are all like gathering around on him enough. He like understood what you are meaning. So this is one example, and there was another example, but let's stay with this one. What do you think here? Is that unwise or wise or fine?
Okay, I'll tell you what happened here. Is your friend had wrong action, which means he harmed somebody with his body, bumping into somebody else with his body. Even though it's allowed in the sport, it's still wrong action based on the natural laws. It's a wrong action. Now, those people, it's triggering their craving. They're being bitter and harsh and hostile, and they're putting their expectation on your friend. But now, because of your attachment to your friend and wanting him to be a certain way and wanting your other friends to be a certain way, you're now putting your expectation on those people and trying to tell them what they should or shouldn't be doing. So, this is just like a big mess of everybody not practicing the teachings. And that's why these things oftentimes can get out of control. Instead of trying to put your expectations on your friends, because if you do that with your friends, they're just going to keep putting their expectations on you. It's better for you to understand that whatever your other friend did, that those people are now yelling and hollering at him about, that's between them. That's their relationship. You stepping in and trying to tell everybody what they should or shouldn't be doing and how they should behave, that's just your craving and your expectation. And that's not going to produce wholesome results for you. You would be better to stay away and stay out of that kind of stuff and just realize that that's between them.
So are you like 100% sure it is due to my attachment to him or them being in a certain way, or it's like different from one situation to another?
I'm sure it's that way because you're putting your expectations on that group of people, trying to control them to do things a certain way because you don't like it when they're coming at your friend in that way and talking to your friend that way. So now, because of your attachment, wanting them to treat him a certain way, you're now putting your expectations on that group of people. This is just all attachment and expectations and craving. And as we've talked before, privately and also publicly too, you and your friends are just constantly putting your expectations on each other. And that's why you have so many challenges in those relationships.
Um, I think I am starting to see how it is a craving. Let me just make sure. Like a week ago, there was something happened with my friends. One of them, like there were three friends, and I'm the fourth one. One of the three friends did some action, the two of them perceived as harmful, disrespectful. So they were like yelling at him and telling him how wrong he is, putting a blame on him for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. So after that 15 minutes, I was like silent. I didn't say anything. But after that 15 minutes, they said enough that I told them, guys, stop that. He understood what you are saying, and he will think about it, and he will make his decisions. Being continuously blaming him and yelling at him isn't good, like for the relationship and for him or anything. So enough, guys. Is that also an craving?
Yes, that's a craving, desire, attachment, wants, and expectations. And there's even conceit in there too, thinking, I know what's right and you're doing what's wrong, and I'm now going to tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing. Instead, in those kinds of situations, it's better to just walk away. That's something that your mind can't do because you have clinging and craving in these relationships you can't let go. But if somebody's functioning in a way that you find to be unwise, it's better to just walk away, because then those people learn that whenever they function that way, that you go away. And if they would like to hang out with you, then they're going to potentially modify their behavior and start to function differently.
You understood it was not about me. It was about like they were yelling at my friend.
Yep.
So why would I walk away?
Because if you're around people who are functioning unwisely and they're being aggressive and hostile and bitter, it's kind of like if you were around uh, three dogs and cats, and two of the dogs and cats were attacking the other one. Uh, it's better to just walk away instead of getting in the middle of it. And now they're scratching you and biting you, right? That's not what you would be interested in doing. If those beings want to fight, they're going to fight, right? You can't stop two people from fighting. If they want to get at each other and rip each other apart, that's what they're going to do. And whether you're in the middle or not is just going to determine whether you get hurt or not. A wise decision would be to just walk away, because these people are now acting unwise. They're adults, they're making their own decisions, and you just walk away and you protect this body and this mind. And then you can choose when to spend time with them. And if they continue to function like this regularly, then you might decide to move on from the relationship and no longer participate in the relationship at all and find friends that are making wise decisions.
Okay, just one moment, please. I would like to translate this word. Um, okay. Uh, when I am doing these two examples, I do them because, like, maybe I have heard you doing the same. So, one of the things that you mentioned is when your wife and your son were fighting before and yelling at each other, you sometimes step in and say, enough, guys, you fought enough. And this kind of words is how is that different from what I said with my friends?
Well, first, my wife and son weren't ever yelling and hollering at each other. That never happened. They didn't, even when they were having difficulties in their relationship, they didn't yell and holler and scream at each other. They would just get into, kind of a little bit aggressive talk with each other. The difference is that when I would step into those conversations, say, hey guys, time out, I'm actually in a role to teach. because I'm teaching my son, I'm guiding my son, I'm helping him learn. He's asked me to teach him the teachings of the Buddha. Specifically, when he was young, he asked me if I would guide him and show him the path to enlightenment. My wife is someone who I'm very close with, and I have a partnership with her. Whereas life partners, we support each other, we help each other. So the role is important here. That you need to be sure that you understand your role in any particular relationship. And when it comes to two friends like that, it doesn't make sense for you to step in because your role isn't to teach them. And even when I was stepping in to help my son and my wife, I wasn't telling them what they should or shouldn't be doing. I actually would step in and ask questions. I would say, hey guys, time out, time out, time out. Hey, Bailan, are you using right speech here? Right? And he'd be like, I don't think so. Why? I was like, well, you don't think so, but I would like to see that you know so, whether or not you're having right speech or not. Let's go through the five factors of well spoken speech. I was like, what's the first factor? Right. So I'm asking him questions. I'm not putting expectations on him and trying to control him. And this is one of the other reasons why it's unwise for you to step in these situations because you don't know how to be skillful to be able to do it without putting expectations on people. I have this role of guiding my son and supporting my wife, but I do it in a skillful way where I'm not putting expectations on them. I'm not controlling them. I'm not telling them what to do. There's no conceit here. I was guiding them, and it worked because now I haven't seen them have a any kind of problems for multiple years. So I don't suspect that they ever will have any more problems because they both have eliminated the pollutions out of their mind that was causing them to have difficulties in their relationship, and they arose wisdom. So by me guiding them and asking them questions, it helped them to arise wisdom so that then they could make better decisions in the way that they were interacting with each other. But what you were describing is stepping in and putting expectations on people and telling people what they should or shouldn't be doing. And that's not what you're interested in doing. And because your role isn't to guide them, you would be unwise to even attempt to do that because they're friends, they're not your child or your life partner.
Okay, I think everything is clear now.
Mhm.
But how is your wife? How like you are saying that when they you are when you are saying when they are your friends and you should not be doing that, but when it is your wife, you are giving the support here. So how is it when you are doing that with your friends? Isn't giving them support the same?
Because your role is different. You're a friend, and in a friendship role, you need to maintain your friendship. And friends aren't there to tell each other what they should or shouldn't be doing. And even in my role with my son and my wife, I wasn't telling them what they should or shouldn't be doing. Instead, I was asking them questions that was helping them to arise wisdom to then make better decisions themselves rather than me telling them what they should or shouldn't be doing. And what the Buddha teaches you is that you would only do these kinds of things when people will heed your advice, right? So there's very limited number of people in your life that is going to heed your advice and be open to your input about these types of things. And in your life, I don't know that you have anybody that's like that. And even if you did, you're not at a place with your right speech that you're even capable of giving that kind of guidance because you're telling people, putting expectations on people of what they should or shouldn't be doing.
Mm. I thought of a fun way to do the same as you, like to when they are hollering at each other, I can say, guys, what are the five factors of well-spoken speech? So they will stare at me with a shock, unknowing what those are, and we all laugh and go to sleep.
Yeah, but that's not how I do it. You think you're doing things the way that I do it, but you're actually not. There's more for you to learn, and I would encourage you to focus on eliminating your craving to tell people what to do, because then when you are in a position that you can guide people and actually help people, you'll be better at doing that. But as long as you have a craving in your mind, you'll be telling people and putting expectations on people. You're not using right speech, you're having central desire, your conceits coming out, and that's why it's going to produce unwholesome results for you. Because now those people, when you're doing something that they don't like, they're going to put expectations on you. That's why, you have the problems you have in your relationships, where you guys are just constantly putting expectations on each other and trying to control each other.
Yeah, I was just joking with you. I'm thankful for you to giving me your time. Thanks and bye bye.
Okay, take care. All right, I don't see any other questions anywhere. So I'm going to end class here by thanking all of you guys for joining. Thank you for your interest to learn and grow and develop on the path. As you would like to learn more, there's plenty of opportunities for that. Our group learning program is going to meet next on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Sunday night, where I'm going to be teaching chapter 14 from this book, which is titled Cultivating Healthy Mental States, Loving Kindness, Compassion, Sympathetic Joy, and Equanimity. This is where the Buddha gets the reputation of being like a doctor, where there's a certain symptom in the mind, and then he's recommending to apply a certain antidote or certain prescription. So you are your own best doctor. When you see the symptoms that the Buddha describes in his teachings, you can then apply the prescription that he describes, and now you'll be able to experience a remedy in that situation. So thank you all for joining, and perhaps I'll see you guys in one of these future classes. Be well and take care. Sawadee. Thank you again for watching. Enjoy your meditation. Look forward to seeing you online and answering any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.